Hello everyone, welcome to Durrett's Take. I'm doing 2 episodes today so I can have my Thanksgiving off and Friday off and stuff like that. So let's get started. Let's go over the top 5 games for college football this weekend, Thanksgiving style. Let's go with number 5. You got 11 Oklahoma versus West 6-2 versus West Virginia 5-3. 7:30 game on ABC Saturday night. You may be wondering why this game has intrigue in it. If you have not watched Oklahoma in the past month, they're demolishing their opponents. Most of them were against the bottom of the Big 12. But last week against a rival, a top 25 team, they just dominated them. Playing at West Virginia, though, can be tricky in my opinion. So therefore, it's a chance to get upset there. Question is, will that happen? I think West Virginia is one of the best defensive teams in the Big 12, so I think it'll be a lower scoring game and a closer game than what the experts are saying. But I'm going to take Oklahoma here to survive barely and keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. OU 27, West Virginia 23. Next, you got Colorado 2-0 versus 18 USC 3-0. So the winner basically goes to the Pac-12 title game. Important game here. Expect this one to involve a lot of offense. It will come down to whoever has the ball last, in my opinion. In my opinion, Colorado will score. I feel a lot of points. I feel defensively, though, they have major holes that USC can exploit, and therefore USC can win in the close game, 38-34. Next, 3, you got 13 Iowa State 6-2 versus 17 Texas 5-2. If it, It's pretty interesting here how again another game that shapes up the Big 12 because like the top 4 teams are all jumbled next to each other. So it's gonna be this is for all the marbles right here. In my opinion, I feel like this is going to be an actually a lower scoring game than what most people think, because people sometimes underrate Iowa State's defense. But I'm actually going to take Texas here at home to win by 2 points in a 23-21 type of game. So that way it can be on a rematch of the Red Rivalry for the Big 12 title game. And then Iowa State can get knocked out of 13 because that was a disgraceful spot to put them in anyways in front of BYU and like Oregon, stuff like that. It was just dumb. But anyways, so the second best game at 2 Notre Dame versus 19 North Carolina 6-2. This is this is probably the most big game of the week. Expect offense shootout. North Carolina can make things interesting, but the problem is they sometimes are allergic to play defense against Notre Dame, and I feel like that will cost them. And the Irish will survive here, like in a 52-44 type of game, that much of a shootout. Last but not least, you got 22 Auburn, 5-2 versus 1 Alabama. So no, the Iron Bowl was a classic last year. I know both teams are ranked, so it appears to be a good game, but don't be fooled here. Bama will win handily, in my opinion. Even if Auburn is able to slow Bama's offense down, which is a tall task, I feel like they won't be able to score consistently on the offensive side. So Alabama's defense in this game will carry them out to a blowout, like 41-20 type of game. So there you have it. Got Oklahoma by 4, USC by 3, Texas by 2, Notre Dame by 8, and Alabama by 21. So now to go over my top 10 NFL teams, since I didn't have time to do that earlier. So let's get started. Number 1 is Pittsburgh. I still have the number 1. Number 2, Kansas City. That hasn't changed. Number 3, New Orleans. That hasn't changed. But now my new number 4 is the LA Rams. I feel like after those top 3 teams, I feel like the Rams are the 4th best team. And honestly, the only other team I feel like, well, maybe they can win the Super Bowl after they got a really good defense. They showed it on Monday night. Offensively, as long as they can protect Goff, they're really, really good. So I like what I've seen from them. And they're kind of like the team of back in 2018 where they went to the Super Bowl. 5, I got Indianapolis. I have lots what I see from them recently. Now, again, if Tennessee beats them, then they might drop down a little bit. But if they beat Tennessee again, then that just proves they're a top 5 team as of right now. Philip Rivers taking care of the ball, not playing reckless as much, giving him time to throw. And the defense stepping up to the play. I'm like what I see for them. 6, Tennessee. Again, I like what I'm seeing for them against Baltimore recently, and I feel like when Derrick Henry runs a lot, they're just a hard team to stop. 7, you got Buffalo. Because the head-to-head matchup there. Buffalo's still really good. They had the bye week, so a lot of people forgot about them already, but watch them against the Chargers, and they'll look pretty good. 8, you got Green Bay. Again, I'm still surprised that they're 7-3 at this point because they should have a lower record than this. But Green Bay just shows once again that they have weakness when it comes to stopping the run, but then also turnovers doesn't help as well, and they need to take care of that. 9, I got Seattle. 7th round. I know they have their issues, but they showed against Arizona that, hey, with Dunlap there, with Jamal, I was like, their defense could be a little bit better. And also, Russell Wilson was able to get protection and have a running game because Carlos Hyde was back in there for they're able to produce better. So I got 9 Seattle. And then 10, I got Las Vegas is right now the best 4-loss team. I know Tampa Bay beat them, but I love what I'm seeing for Las Vegas. They beat the Chiefs once, took them down to the wire the other time. They've beaten the Saints. Like they definitely have some impressive wins here. And those are my top 10. So again, you got Pittsburgh, Kansas City, New Orleans, LA Rams, Indianapolis, Tennessee, Buffalo, Green Bay, Seattle, and Las Vegas. So just to remind you guys that college basketball has officially started. So make sure to, if you have time, to watch some of the games there, because a lot of games are going to be canceled due to COVID, like we've seen in college football. But just enjoy college basketball, the fact that we have it. So if there's any good games, go ahead and watch it during this Thanksgiving weekend. So it's not just football here. And speaking of not just football and basketball, I was going through my updated NBA projections after the recent free agency stuff like that, and I'm not going to share with that right now. But what I am going to say is that it looks very different from the one I had a month ago, and it's going to look very interesting, in my opinion, with the recent things that happened. So that's pretty cool. And going back to the college football rankings, so as we know, BYU is at 14th, and for them, they have to get at least 12th in order to be considered at large for the New Year's Six bowl game, which means they have to schedule at least one good opponent, if not two. So therefore, I have checked to see, okay, which teams are either available or could potentially be available due to COVID on the days that they have open, which is December 5th and December 19th. And for December 5th, here's a couple options. 1, 7, Cincinnati. That seems like a no-brainer, my bit. For Cincinnati, you might not want to risk it, because if you win, I mean, obviously you can have a chance to be in the actual playoffs, which is great stuff. But either way, you're in the New Year's Six bowl for sure. Then, but if you lose, do you fall behind Coastal Carolina, who's at 20, all the way down there, and therefore you don't get the New Year's Six nod? In my opinion, I feel like you wouldn't fall 13 spots playing a 14th BYU team, who in my opinion would jump to like top 12, top 10. So I feel like they have nothing to lose and more to gain from it. So I feel like they should want to play, and obviously BYU would want to play as well. And the other one is who Cincinnati just beat in UCF. I know UCF's not as good as they've had in the past few years, but they're still decent enough, still explosive offensively. And since the committee was impressed that Cincinnati just beat them by 3 points, if BYU could play them and beat them by more than that, then that'll look more impressive. UAB is the second best conference USA team. Is underrated in my opinion, especially if UAB goes on to play Marshall in the conference title game, plays them tough, maybe upsets them, then that'll be a good win there. But then the other two scenarios, and this is if there's cancellations. So USC is scheduled to play Washington next weekend, but Washington State had to cancel Washington this weekend due to COVID issues. So if Washington State's not ready, then there's a chance for BYU to play USC, a ranked team there, assuming USC won against Colorado. Even if USC didn't win against Colorado, that still might be a good game. And then Nevada had their game scheduled for Fresno State canceled this weekend. I mean, the Fresno State had their game canceled this weekend, and Fresno State scheduled to play Nevada, which looks like potentially the best team in the Mountain West. So if that cancels, then maybe the Mountain West allow Nevada to play BYU and try to get some credibility there. So those are the options for December 5th. December 19th, there's a lot more options because it's championship weekend, so whoever doesn't make it has a schedule open, basically, for the most part. So let's start with the first option, which is a Pac-12 team. Now, this one, in my opinion, well, there would obviously have to be cancellation here first and foremost, but then after that, it would have to be like in between the 3rd to 5th place team in the Pac-12, because playing at Cal Oregon State's not going to be beneficial. So it'd have to be like third to 5th best place Pac-12 team who has a cancellation, or if Utah's not outside the top 5 of the Pac-12 if they have cancellation. Utah, rivalry game, makes sense to play them. Another option is TCU. They never reschedule their non-conference opponent with SMU, and if they don't, then this could be an option. TCU will be mediocre, obviously. They'll probably like a 4-6-5-5 type of team, but a respectable program nonetheless in the Big 12. P5 team, which will look impressive with the committee. So this should be a good enough win if we can get it. Next is options Army, because that's a game BYU originally had scheduled and got postponed. So they can just find a way to make it up, and they can play Army. Now I'm not sure how credible of a win that'll be, but it might be enough credible wins since Cincinnati play them, and also to call an opponent with Cincinnati. If BYU could beat Army by 30 plus, and then it's like, oh well, we underestimated BYU and overestimated Cincinnati type of thing. Next you got SMU. Again, if TCU and SMU don't reschedule, and TCU says no, then SMU is their best team in the American Conference, in my opinion, and that could be a good enough win for the committee to look at. They obviously were impressed with Cincinnati, blow them out, and again, it's not a common opponent to compare themselves with in Cincinnati, try to make themselves ranked higher. Another option is Memphis. Again, common opponent Cincinnati. If Tulsa is in a title game, Memphis could be scheduled here. They're the G5 represented last year, so they're a good, decent team. Next, you got Liberty. If it wasn't for a blocked field goal, they would be undefeated right now and probably in the top 25, around where Marshall's ranked right now. Like they're a pretty good team. So I feel like if they play them, maybe that's a credible enough win there. We'll have to see. And then Appalachian State, they're third best in the Sun Belt. I know they're not what they've been the past few years, but they're still pretty decent, and that could be an option there. So again, for December 5th, you have 18 USC or Nevada, if they get scheduled and the conference allows them to play BYU. And then you got 7 Cincinnati, UCF, and UAB. Then for December 19th, you got a Pac-12 team if there's cancellation there. And it's a good enough one. TCU, Liberty, Army, SMU, Memphis, Appalachian State. So there's not a lot of options per se, but there's enough and a few options to where hopefully one or two of the teams will agree, okay, yeah, BYU will take you on. So then that way they can get a 10 year 6 bowl game. Now, if I'm Cincinnati trying to get a playoffs, I would take the game with BYU. And if not, then you got to take a game against maybe a good Pac-12 team or a good another good non-conference game like a Liberty or something like that to improve their strength of schedule in order to try and make a case for the playoffs, unless they're satisfied with the Year 6 bowl game. So that's it for today. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Happy holidays. Hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you very much. You all have a wonderful day.